Welcome to the Jeff Fitzgerald pregame show. I'm Mike Downauer with head football coach Jeff Fitzgerald. Coach, it was a big win last week. Ridgewood, you went over there, a little concerned about that second half of that airline game, and your guys just seemed to really just go very focused into that game.
We were very focused. You know, we kind of had a sour taste in our mouth and just that old rot gut feeling, and coming out of the way we finished the airline game, and felt like we kind of let one slip away. And whether it was their depth or our conditioning or whatever it might be, we all felt like that we let one slip away there. So our guys were very hungry throughout the week. They took coaching very well, and then obviously capitalized on it Friday night.
Final score 62-0. I know that's not what you wanted, but yet that's just what happened. I mean, those kids, they played hard. The players just really went after it.
You know, and it was a win that was much appreciated but hard to enjoy. Marcus and I are great friends, and you know, he's in his first year head coaching there, and I've been on both sides of it where I've won big, I've lost terribly like that before, and it's no fun, you know, and knowing that some of the struggles that he's facing at that point in time with just a new program and trying to earn the trust of those young men, and it was tough, but I'm very thankful for the win. But it was, I mean, you know, people said, well, we ran the score up on them. Well, man, we had the ball so many times in the red zone that it was hard not to score. We literally tried to not score and still scored.
Focus on the offense and defense, you know, their strengths of the Ridgewood game. What did they do best that you guys really wanted them to work on?
You know, we maintained our blocks better up front with our offensive line, and then we're able to finish. And then defensively, we tackled well, and we'll look at some clips here in just a minute. But our defensive ends squeezed very well. Our linebackers scraped. We played assignment football, and that was something that we've really harped on a ton throughout this course of time, is really playing fundamental football and taking care of our assignments. And we talk all the time. I mean, it's all the time: alignment, assignment, and it just. That came into play where we didn't really make a lot of mistakes.
All right, well, let's take a look at those highlights and see what you've got to show us here.
You know, we're going to look back at all the way back from the beginning, and
we're back to the scrimmage.
Back to the scrimmage against Bastrop over at West Monroe, and we've talked about trust the climb, and I've just got a few little clips here to show you, just to be able to see and compare them and know the progress that we've made throughout the season here. You see we've got a guy coming free. We just didn't stay on our block right there. That guard gave it up.
Basically untouched.
Untouched, yeah. And then the linebacker scrapes and we don't chip off. And so makes it very tough. That's one of our bread and butter plays, inside zone. That's who we are. And then we look at a defensive clip here from this same scrimmage, and they go run a play here, and it bounces outside. Well, if you look right here, if you look at number 7, this guy right here, what ends up happening is he should force and come right on the outside pad. So when this thing bounces, he's there to make the play. If you'll notice, he comes inside one, he's backpedaling on the run.
Yep.
So it's happening really fast for him. And then he comes way inside, doesn't trigger, they end up getting a big gain out of it. And then something very similar happens again here to us defensively.
On the other side.
On the other side. Same guy, he comes to the outside, but if you'll notice this time he runs up the field rather than, that guy is what we call a force player. And so what he's wanting to do is he's wanting to force the ball back inside. Instead, he gets, and so it's coming at a 45-degree angle is how he should attack it. He stays on the outside, but as you can see, he allows it to cut up the field, and off to the races they go. The corner should always be outside right here. He ends up inside and allows the guy to get the edge. So just a couple of defensive clips there, and then you can see again
came in on
just came scot-free, and so there's no time to be able for those routes to develop and those plays to occur. I know this seems very negative, but the positive's coming.
Right, right.
Here we go. We just got 3 up the pipe. DB allows him to eat up his cushion, and we got a man for a man. It's just a matter of he allowed him to eat up his cushion and blew by him, and they made a good throw and catch. Come back again us offensively here, and here's the outside zone play that we run. Another inside zone and outside zone are really something that we do a lot of. We don't get that edge sealed. If you can see, they get a push right here on Cameron Williams, and he doesn't get that edge sealed. Now we've got it sealed up front. You can see we got it sealed up front, but it's an outside run play, should be off tackle. And so it's like, man, we're right there, we're really close, and it's just a matter of finishing the drill. Again, same thing, another outside run play here, and you can see we get it, but we don't maintain that block. You see those guys come off at the last minute. The running back didn't hit the hole quite like he should, and so it makes it tough. Here, all right, if you'll notice, we go up, we undercut the ball. The safety does great coverage. He undercuts it and allows the guy to make.
He went up for it, but he was not close enough.
Mistimed it, undercut it, and so they end up making a big gain there.
Now we're at the Bayou Jam.
You got a bunch of editing to do, I'm sorry. All right, again, now you see Ricky, the same guy, number 7. All right,
Slater.
Ricky Slater. He's coming up right here. This is a similar outside run play. Now we squeeze really good at the defensive end, which makes the guy give it. Here he's off to the races, and Ricky comes and forces it much more aggressively, much quicker than before. You see how much more physical he is there. But where does he go? He goes inside, and you can see we got 2 guys in a gap. He forces it hard outside, it's a no play. But instead, they score a touchdown on it. So you can see we're getting better. This time, if you'll notice the corner, everybody stays outside where they're supposed to be. So we're kind of 1 man away rather than we were 2 men away. Now we're down to 1 man away. And so there is that little progression right there of us getting better. Again, here, defensive end did not squeeze. And so you can see the quarterback pulled it, got right up underneath it.
Mm-hmm.
If this end will just sit right here, you can see Kel Wheeler's unblocked. He's unblocked. So it's going to come, quarterback's going to give it, and we got ourselves a ball play.
Right.
But just a little mistake right there makes all the difference. Now you can see, even in the course of the game, we started getting better here now.
Mm-hmm.
So a much better play in the Bayou Jam right here against Ruston. Same exact play we just watched, all right? But this time, we're going to have the defensive end, Cody Woolley, squeezes, quarterback gives it. There's Ricky from the outside, forcing it, right back into the linebacker. There it is, no gain on the play.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see there's a progression that's happening even in the course of the game. You know, that was 20 plays later in the game. And so our guys are learning. We're getting better. It just takes a little bit of time. These guys are young. Only 2 of them have ever been on the field before. And so those things are occurring.
OJT, on-the-job training.
All right, so now you remember in the Bastrop film, okay, the Bastrop scrimmage, we didn't have any time to throw the ball. Now, look at this protection. This is pretty good. He's got time to set his feet. He throws the ball. Wasn't quite on target, but the protection is there. Mm-hmm. All right, so there's still I mean, that's a great pocket.
It is.
That's a great pocket. We go back and we look at Airline. And we can see here they go with their outside run play. Same exact play Bastrop running.
But it's tackle for a loss.
Tackle for a loss. I mean, there is absolutely nowhere to go. Guys are doing exactly what they're supposed to do now. And ends are squeezing. We're scraping. We're forcing. So those things are, I mean, you see that, I mean, it's, if all you do is see it every week, it's kind of hard to tell. But man, when you start looking at it clip to clip to clip,
game to game,
game to game, you can really see the improvement that our guys are making. Again, here we go now. Here's that outside run play I was showing you earlier in the first scrimmage against Bastrop. Remember, this defense, or this tight end, didn't seal it.
right?
Well, this time he seals it, and watch what happens.
Sean Xavier goes in.
Beats them to the edge, and we get in for the touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
So those were some really big improvements that we made throughout the course of the game. Or throughout the course, not the game, but throughout the course of
Well, it's a
play.
3-week progression, basically, too.
Absolutely. Okay, now, same play. Remember, this is almost exact route concept and everything. Coach Meeks did a great job of scouting us. Where Bastrop hit us over the top with the play where we undercut it, now we make the pick. So it's the same exact route concept and everything as before. Here it comes. We're over the top. If you'll notice, both safeties here are over the top.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Or the safety in the corner over the top. This time, we make the break and get a big interception. So there's a huge amount of progress that's being made. It's just slow. You know, you can't rush experience.
Well, you had mentioned from the very beginning, gelling as a team, unfortunately, mid-season, but you still have to go through it, and that's
We
what
do.
you guys have done.
And very proud of our guys and the way that they've competed and continue to get better every day. You know, these guys they've not settled for anything less than perfection. And somewhere along the way, we will achieve excellence. It's just a matter of time. And when we look back to the Richwood game, you'll be able to see that there is a ton of improvement that was made of being able to put those 4 quarters together. You know, here we are offensively, like the 11th play of the game, we break off a big run, and again it comes back to right here. You see that edge is sealed.
Mm-hmm.
Sean Xavier really just makes one cut and makes a guy miss, and then turns on the afterburners, and we get a little face mask penalty right there. But huge for us. And then we're starting back at the 20 on this drive and able to continue and put a long drive together. And here we go with a pass up the seam to Cam. And but again, notice good protection. I mean, Richwood's defensive front, they're massive.
Mm-hmm.
They are massive. They are very explosive players. This is Boris here again on an off tackle run play, and
I like to watch guys try to stop him.
but he is
goes
a
right
physical
over them.
runner. If you'll notice, when we block down, we kick out, he hits it. Receivers are blocking well down the field, and then he's able to turn on afterburners, and one man has a tough time blocking him. You can see he goes in for the touchdown.
That's one thing Des mentioned during the broadcast is how well the receivers block downfield. Just
Very
opening
well.
up the gap way down there.
Here it is again. This is a tough run by Sean Xavier here. When we get the edge sealed very, very well again, and then he cuts it up and makes a tough run out of it for the score. If you notice there, I mean, that just shows great improvement of our offensive line and our running backs of timing and hitting the hole, and everybody doing what they're supposed to do. Here, I'd say probably this was the turning point of the Richwood game. It's when Carl, man, he knocks this
He
dude
did. I saw
out.
it. Yep.
And just a physical football play, and definitely was we feel like kind of the momentum changer of the game, where they really lost hope after this point. And it's just a little old tunnel screen, and we slip it and hit him in the mouth, as
Absolutely.
I like to call it.
It took him a little while to get up from that one.
It did. Again, good quick protection here, nothing coming free. Makes a nice easy throw right there for Zach to Jacoby Connor, and it's good to see a big guy go up and get the ball. He's starting to get a knack for that, you know. And
That's his basketball coming out there.
it is. It is. He does a really good job of it. Here we get an interception. This is another turning point, you know, that just kind of sealed it. No hope after that.
I was impressed with the hands. He caught that with the ball right in front. I mean,
Yeah.
both hands, kind of like a receiver should.
He's a good.
Your
football
defensive
player.
guy did it.
He's a good football player. You know, and then we had the big kick return. At this point, we had started playing a bunch of young guys, and this is a little sophomore, Jaden LeDent, that he's fast now, and ends up making a big run out of it. And you know, Richwood shows their speed here with the ability to be able to cut him off, but makes a really, really good run out of it. You know, and when you've got these short fields like this,
Right.
man, it is hard not to score. We score. You know, they snapped the ball between the punter's legs. They snapped the ball over the punter's head. We had a big kick return. We had 2 big punt returns. They punt the ball for like 1 yard. Obviously the interceptions, we had 3 of those. And so when those things happen and you've got a 20-yard field, it is very,
Right.
very difficult not to score. And all of our running backs scored touchdowns. Everybody on our team played a half of football, and our guys laid it on the line.
And it looked good doing it.
Did, very proud of them.
Well, the Neville Tigers are coming to the Lions Den, and we'll take a look at that on the other side. This Jeff Fitzgerald pregame show is being brought to you by Ludwig Marine. We'll be right back. The Jeff Fitzgerald Coaches Show brought to you by Chick-fil-A. Coach, already we're at week number 3. We've gone through the scrimmages, the jam, and now 2 games. You're 1-1 coming in, and holy cow, Mickey McCarty's Neville Tigers are coming in, and they seem to be strong after that win against University High last week.
You know, not only that, but they had a huge win against Ruston the week before, and Ruston's kind of had their number the past few years, and able to squeak that game out. And
Kickers matter.
yes, they do. Yes, they do. You know, and they had a bunch of turnovers in that game, and Ruston did, and Neville did, and Neville scored off of a pick 6 and a scoop and score, and those are tough to stomach. You know, if I'm Coach Ball at Ruston, man, I'm very frustrated by that. But Coach McCarty and those Neville Tigers found a way to get it done, and that was big for their program to be able to get back on top in that series. And you know, it's a big rivalry, and then obviously U High's
27-game winning streak came to an end.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're a powerhouse in the state of Louisiana. But they didn't realize what kind of buzzsaw they were running up against those Neville Tigers, because, you know, as we all know, Neville's a great program. And a lot of times, you know, I hate to say this, but it's the truth. A lot of times South Louisiana teams don't give North Louisiana teams any respect or credit.
Right.
And
Until they play.
Until they play them, you know, and that's something that I believe everybody in North Louisiana has been pretty successful over teams in South Louisiana, especially this year. You know, you got the game where East Ascension beats Zachary, and then they make a trip up to Halton and get their doors blown off. So it's been some good Friday night football in North Louisiana, and probably the best game coming up is our game this week. I'd say across the state, it's one of the biggest matchups in the state of Louisiana, if not one of the biggest matchups in the South. It's always a great rivalry game. It's always going to be a hard-fought match. It's always going to come down to the end. And it's a game where, you know, bragging rights and everything's on the line.
Well, tell us what to look for from Neville this year. We know they've been feeding those boys something, because Brister's up to 6'4", at least, you said.
At least.
6'4" quarterback, and they've really focused on their running game too.
They have. You know, they started out the year as a 4-wide, 5-wide team, and going to allow Andrew to sling it around, and he's a great player. Obviously, comes from a great stock, and his dad was a great player at Neville, and Bubby, and was a great player out at ULM back when it was NLU. And I mean, and Andrew is that apple didn't fall far from the tree.
Right.
He is a great player and does a lot of good things. Man, he's got a quick release and has a great arm to make those long throws. And so, they started out as a 4 and 5 wide team, but I don't know. It seems like always about week 3 they start finding their identity.
3 yards in a cloud of dust.
Well, they are, and they seem to always go back to that tight end wing set, tight end H-back. Then they're still throwing the ball out of it, but what it did was it opened up more of their running game. They've got 2 really, really good running backs. They've got a senior running back and then a sophomore running back that are doing a tremendous job. And so that opens up more of that passing game. And they've got a couple of really good receivers that they're getting the ball to. And so they're doing a good job of spreading that around offensively. And, not just the 4 and 5 wide, but they're going to be the tight end H-back, so they'll look very similar to us for most of the night.
What about defense? They did a great job shutting out University High last week. No points scored, only allowed 20 against Ruston, so obviously defensively they're strong.
They're very strong defensively. They returned 3 out of their 4 defensive linemen, very good players, explosive players, and then both their linebackers can run and are playing well, and their secondary is a little faster than they were a year ago. So that gives them the ability to play a little bit more man. They're still a 4-down lineman, whether it's a 4-2-5 or a 4-3 look. They're still going to have kind of that 6-man, 7-man box, 8-man box.
Hard to run against unless you...
Very tough to run against. They're going to stack the box and stop the run, and that's something I know, Coach McCarty believes in. I believe in. Most defensive guys, they believe that, stop the run and then take it away from them, and that kind of that running game is the mindset. It's that mentality of imposing your will upon someone else, and so we know that they're going to come into it with that mentality of stopping the run, and that's what they do.
Let's talk about the mindset of the Lions. Going back to your team here, you beat a team 62-0. Are they 10 foot tall and bulletproof and can whip anybody, or do they realize the difference between Richwood and Neville?
We do realize the difference, and I really think that we kind of came into the season a little bit thinking we were 10 foot tall and bulletproof, and then we realized that anybody can beat anybody on a Friday night.
Yes, they can.
And sometimes you learn those lessons the hard way, but I would say almost all the time, the hard lessons learned are the ones that stick with you. And so we're definitely geared up and ready to go, and not overconfident. We're confident. Yeah. Confident in our teammates and one another that we're going to do our job and that we're going to play hard and that we're going to do what we're supposed to do. And, and there's no doubt Neville's a good team, but so are we.
Right.
And, they're coming into a buzzsaw in the Lions' den, that's for sure.
How is your team health-wise, injury-wise?
We're about as healthy as you can be week 3. Now, we got a couple of little banged up bruises, but nothing major to speak of. And so our guys pretty healthy, and we're still young. We're gaining a little bit more experience every week, and so as long as we continue with the attitude that we have right now, wanting to work and wanting to get better, then we've got great days ahead of us.
Good luck in tonight's game against those Tigers.
Thank you.
You've been tuned into the Jeff Fitzgerald pregame show, brought to you by Rebacks Realtors, Slagle McGuffey.